So it's already happening. SUNO and UDIO are talking with the labels. So in this video, we'll be going through it. Hey everyone, this is Barry from Music Tech Info. I hope you are well today. I'm not too bad. I do need a cup of tea though, to be fair. I'm a little late on that. Actually, no, I'm not. It's only 9:30. I normally have a tea at 10. So anyway, I digress. So my very good friend Rich let me know yesterday the fact that this is happening and managed to find this article today. So we're going to run through this. Labels are in licensing talks with AI music generators, SUNO and UDIO. The major music companies are reportedly in licensing talks with controversial AI music generators UDIO and SUNO. UDIO and SUNO have been very controversial because they basically, to train their AI model, they use copyrighted material, which they are claiming is free use. And the courts are yet to decide on that. There's lots of things going on in the US about it in terms of legality, such as the Copyright Office with the top person being fired by Trump. So there's a huge story going on about that at the moment. So yeah, they're definitely controversial. However, for musicians, they are fantastic tools. They really do help with creativity. And I do see a lot of strength with these tools. However, wouldn't it be amazing if, the music that was utilised, artists were actually paid for to help train their model, or even generate it, would identify who where the source information came from. That doesn't happen with these platforms, and that's the biggest issue that I personally have with them. So, according to Bloomberg, which reported on Sunday, citing people familiar with the discussions that UMG, Warner Music Group, why did I say that? UMG and then Warner Music Group. UMG, WMG, and SME are seeking license fees from the platforms. Wow, license fees, interesting. Plus a small amount of equity in both SUNO and UDIO. Now, they already pretty much own Spotify, these labels. How much more power do they want? They want all the power of the music industry, obviously, because they are the labels. It's just a big shame that perhaps that they're going to find a way to legalise it in a way that they're going to be happy with, because they're going to monetise from it. And oh yeah, it's fine if we monetise from it. Oh, but it's not okay if we don't. We're going to sue. We're going to sue SUNO and sue UDIO, which is exactly what they're doing at the moment. So the report arrives just under a year after the majors sued SUNO and UDIO for copyright infringement. Sources told Bloomberg that any deal would help settle lawsuits between the startups and the music companies. Oh, isn't that an incentive? The news outlet noted that its sources declined to be identified because the talks could fall apart, which is true. Probably in a very sensitive time at the moment in terms of AI music. We've just been literally transported for people being able to click a button 1,000 times and release music and think they're going to make money from it. And that is pretty much not the case. 95% of that is not the case. Whereas there are musicians out there who may get creative ideas from them. They may actually use some of the elements in their own tracks, I think before AI music generators were really kind of limited, particularly around vocals, But when SUNO and UDIO launched, oh my goodness me, huge change. And if you are a subscriber of this channel, you'll know that because I've been featuring AI music generators for well over 2 years now. So if you're not subscribed and you like AI music, make sure you subscribe to the channel. So it says SUNO and UDIO generate music from text prompts, allowing users to request songs to receive complete audio recordings. And this is new as well because it never used to be the case that it did that. You would generally generate and then you extend the existing track that you like by 30 seconds at a time, and each one of those required a new click. Whereas now you can click the button and you can get a full-blown track. Yes, it may not be perfect, but compared to where we were, this is really just excelled. In June last year, the three majors sued the AI startups in the US for allegedly training their systems using the majors' recordings without permission, an accusation that pretty much admitted to in court filings last August. Very, very true. And this is the biggest thing. People were like, oh, those platforms are going to go down straight away. And, these things take time in the courts, don't they? The complaints against SUNO and UDIO last year argued that AI companies, like all other enterprises, must abide by the laws that protect human creativity and ingenuity, and that there is nothing that exempts AI technology from copyright law or that excuses AI companies from playing by the rules. The concern that I have with that, look at Google's VO3 model, how realistic that is, and that's just been released now. Nobody's having a go at them. Nobody's having a go at Google saying, oh, you used YouTube and you've used copyrighted material. Think of all of the creators that Google's just ripped out of their platform to do that. I mean, I'm sure it's in the terms of service that they can do that. Of course it is. But is it right? Is it ethical? And whereas in the music industry, I'm not saying this is right, but it does seem that AI music generators, get a much harder time with this. People are a lot more opinionated. I mean, VO3, this is going to affect actors. This is going to affect editors, sound effects people. This is going to put a lot of people out of work. So we're always in interesting times, and this is why I decided to feature AI after my Web3 adventure on this channel, purely because the technology was changing every single day, and I found it really hard to keep up with. And being a musician myself, known as Cyber Monday, that's exactly why I wanted to keep on top of the game. I love tech. I love music. So it makes sense to me to focus that on the channel. And I'm glad I did, because it's been such a journey. And if you're interested, go back to previous videos. I've got playlists like AI music that you can check out. So interesting. Both SUNO and UDIO have previously argued that their use of copyrighted material falls under the fair use exemption to US copyright law. Yes. And it's going to be different by country, maybe state by state. We are yet to find out. There's a huge issue at the moment with certain famous musicians such as Elton John really not being happy with the UK government at the moment, because it seems to be that they are steering towards allowing AI companies to do this, to scrape data under fair use. Whereas a lot of people object to that, such as Elton John. And he's spoken publicly about that very recently in the news, in the press. So yes, again, we're in the thick of it right now. Bloomberg points out the complexity of the reported talks between the labels and UDIO and SUNO. Okay, the music companies want greater control over the use of their work. Of course they do, because they own that work. Well, use over the artist's work. Oh, which is one of the reasons why I'm so glad I was never signed to like a non-exclusive, huge, big label and then literally, had the worst contract through, because I wanted nothing more when I was in my 20s to be signed. I would have done anything to be signed. I wouldn't have given a stuff about the contract back then. A lot of people have just signed it and become, huge issues, owing so much money back to labels again. So yeah, I'm glad I didn't do that. Last year, this just shows how much money they're raising now. SUNO raised $125 million from investors, including Lightspeed Venture Partners, giving the Massachusetts headquartered company an implied value of $500 million. UDIO secured $10 million and other backers, reflecting investor confidence in AI music generation despite the legal challenges. So investment is, there, which is really good. The reported licensing talks with UDIO and SUNO follows licensing agreements struck between ChatGPT developer OpenAI and companies like News Corp and the Associated Press and Vox Media. Yeah, that's true. That's kind of the way that AI companies are going now, these tech companies, is to really get investment, to get the buy-in. So it's not just about the funding, it's about the backing, So the reported licensing talks, music industry executives have expressed cautious optimism about AI technology while defending copyright protections. Last year, when record companies brought legal action against SUNO and UDIO, the chief executive officer from the RIAA said, the music community has embraced AI and we are already partnered and collaborating with responsible developers to build sustainable AI tools centered on human creativity that puts artists and songwriters in charge. Interesting. I mean, there is a gap, and this is something that I really feel will happen going forwards. I feel that that we are not far from being able to put in a text prompt and edit these songs that are generated in SUNO and UDIO. So you've generated a song, but you're not happy with the symbol. You'll just put in, change the symbol to sound more prominent in the track, and it'll do it, you know. I don't think we're too far from that. When that happens, that's going to be quite huge. Very huge, I personally think. So yeah, the music community has embraced AI. The other thing that I think is missing is SUNO and UDIO, they merge the stems all into one track, which for musicians isn't ideal, so they can split out those stems, they can then rework on them. It's a lot of work to do that. So to actually have, you know, these AI music generators that specifically only do the perfect stem extractions would be really beneficial. That's kind of what we're missing right now. But we can only succeed if developers are willing to work together with us. Okay, so we've also got about fair use here, because it's been identified similarities between UDIO generated music and works from established artists such as John Lennon, Natalie Imbruglia and Coldplay, amongst many others. And this is a problem, you know, it wasn't apparent to begin with. I created a brand new track and Annie Lennox popped up as a vocalist, and she was Annie Lennox. No, I don't think she approved that. So, you know, it does make you think what it's spitting out, where it's getting its stuff from. Another investigation into the output of Gen AI music platform SUNO, which went viral in the music business after it was published earlier the same month. Also facing a copyright infringement in Germany, filed at the beginning of 2025. SUNO's controversial reputation hasn't stopped it from striking headline-grabbing partnerships. In Feb, for example, Amazon unveiled a new AI-powered version of its Alexa voice assistant, and among the capabilities of the next generation of the Plus version is an integration with SUNO. Oh no, what have I started? Oh, there's a new platform called SUNO. Oh my god. In October, SUNO named Timbaland as a strategic advisor. He's done quite a lot of videos. It's a shame that there's not a huge amount on here in terms of the talks. All we know is that they're talking. And of course, it's going to be confidential, right? So, you know, see what people have said about this. Not a lot of people have said much, to be fair. So, it's basically saying if the record industry gets their way, and they probably will, this will come out what comes out of the both apps and probably will jack up subscription prices. True, they've got to make the money. This is the issue, right? These are businesses, right? They're out to make money. Do you think they really care about musicians? I think it was SUNO's CEO, wasn't it, who said that, oh, musicians don't like making music, it's too difficult for them. Of course they like making music, that's the whole point. It's about embracing their creativity. So I don't know, it just seems that these tech companies have so much power now, which is why they're going to be the winners in AI technology. You know, this is how it's going. And then what happens to when a small company makes something amazing that's created with AI, they'll just buy it. That's how this works, and then those conglomerates get more powerful. I personally think this could be a really positive thing. It's unfortunate that that these record labels hold the cards to everything in the music industry, it seems. It's such a shame, I personally think. You know, I'm all about independent artists and getting your name out there and self-marketing and all the rest of it, which is what I do discuss on this channel as well. And it's something that I embrace, you know. It's like on my website, I can sell my own merch. I've got my own fan club. I've got my own vault. I embrace that. I don't have to be signed by an exclusive label, and I'm glad I'm not. But you know, I do think that a deal probably needs to be done to avoid these lawsuits, if that's what SUNO and UDIO obviously want. You know, there's other AI music generators out there now, like Refusion has really gone crazy. Refusion is really good if you want to create consistent tracks similar to the last track that you've generated. It kind of learns from your your likes, your favorited tracks, that kind of thing. It's got its own kind of algorithm model to learn from what you like to produce songs that you like, and that is huge because SUNO and UDIO have elements of that, but not as much as Refusion, it seems. But you know that Refusion started free, and now they have a subscription model. You know, they're a business, they have to make money, but there's so many, and I've featured a lot of AI music generators on this channel already. So if you are interested, go and check them out. So yeah, I will try and keep you posted on this, and let me know what you think in the comments. Is this a good thing? Is this a bad thing? What do you think? All right, I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye.